I'm sure you've already looked for a podcast about Harry Potter everywhere.
But not in the reserved section.
You always seem like you always want to say something.
Is the anxiety to talk about today's topic
Fantastic animals.
of luxury trash people? Yeah,
That sounds like a report by Rita Skeeter, man.
man, because it's a lot. It's a franchise that we're going to have to talk a lot about here today, which is something that at the same time it touched our hearts back in the beginning, started to lose its shine. Or did problems just happen? We're going to talk about all of that here.
What do you think happened along the way?
TIAGO. That's right. Gossip, controversies, arguments, drama, and behind the scenes, and of course, fantastic beasts. It began with purpose and ended without one. I think that's a beautiful phrase.
Wow, this guy is like that. Intern for Rita Skeeter.
Since it's your channel, please share our initial recommendations with everyone.
This reserve session episode is releasing on the Leaky Cauldron.
The next one will be released on the Potter Observatory and audio platforms. So, if you like this conversation here, if you feel like you're sitting here with two friends, having a chat, leave your like, give us a rating, leave your comment, it's always welcome, join our conversation, right? And also, don't forget that you can send your shout out here, supporting Sessão Reservada. And we read some messages throughout the conversation or at the end here, right?
Because it's the shout out moment. I'm surprised people are sending a lot of messages. We'll read all the reserved session feedback at the end of today's episode by episode. It's great that we're your companions every Friday. Now that's it.
I'm happy.
I even watch our episode myself.
I admit I haven't seen the last one yet.
No, that's fine. I just prepare something and it becomes my comfort moment.
I still haven't watched the last one, but I owe it to myself. I want to grab some popcorn and sit down to watch it. Just relax. Katerina stayed home all of last week.
Understandable.
So, no school, you know? By the way,
Renee is going to be a father. Congratulations, big hug to you, and may your baby arrive healthy. We're really happy for you.
it's a big boy, huh? They did the gender reveal there. How cool. Renee Santos. You guys were asking where Renee was? He was making a baby.
To explain where Renee was. Guys, but I'm really happy. Congratulations, Renee. We couldn't miss talking about you.
Now it's Tiago and Leo's turn. Yeah, look.
No pressure. Hey, fantastic animals.
Fantastic Animals was announced in 2013, right? I'll never forget September 2013 when Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them was announced, right?
And then we were like, wow.
Because until then, what we knew was that there wouldn't be a continuation of Harry Potter. There wouldn't be any more Harry Potter stories.
Yes, we did. 2 years after the movies ended, the first big announcement of a new franchise came, which started with an announcement that would be kind of a sort of a... They considered a documentary on the creatures by Newt Scamander, but later announced it would adapt Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. That's right.
I don't know. It's kind of like it didn't really end up being an adaptation of the book.
Yeah, it was a well-crafted story, right?
It was the writer's story from the book.
From the author, right?
From the author of the book. So man, it was excitement. I remember getting really excited because I've always really liked the idea of expansion.
I think what gets me the most about Harry Potter is the richness behind the main story. The main story in the books is Harry's. It's about his journey, his fight against Voldemort.
But we have such a rich and full environment, right?
With so many adventures to explore, the expansion makes me happy. It excites me.
And they even created the Wizarding World logo, right? In other words, they were already thinking from the beginning about making an expansion and creating new movies, new characters. And the Wizarding World, that logo, I don't know if you remember, it was a book opening with the wands. That was the beginning of all this. They were planning the expansion of the Harry Potter universe. Yes, 2 years after Deathly Hallows left theaters, actually, the Fantastic Beasts franchise was announced. Yes, and I was really happy. Me too. I remember I recorded a video at the observatory screaming with excitement. Because, like it or not, damn.
With a little scarf on my head.
Because it was a Gryffindor scarf, I was still in Gryffindor. How nice with all that anticipation. And that's the energy the first movie gives off. The energy of, will we have the world of Harry Potter in theaters again? Yeah.
And I remember being really happy. especially because of the chance to see the wizarding world. Besides Hogwarts, because in the Harry Potter movies, in the Harry Potter story, we see a lot of Hogwarts, right? He basically spends the whole school year there. We have a few things here and there, a little bit at the beginning outside, but most of the time it's Hogwarts. And I remember the excitement of seeing adult wizards in the real world, you know? Like, that was something that really fascinated me, with fantastic beasts and seeing creatures. Man, I remember, that got me really excited, like, the trailers, the behind the scenes, the anticipation, the theories that were coming up. I remember, man, do you remember in the first trailer, when Graves mentions Dumbledore? Wow, my Anne.
It's crazy. I believe that was the second trailer, not the first. There was still a voice at the end, Tina's voice, saying Mr. Scamander, so he said it's Minerva's voice.
I remember.
And man, it's a lot, because like, the franchise was announced in 2013, and then we had small announcements. Eddie Redmayne played the lead, fresh off his Oscar win for The Theory of Everything. He was at his peak. They weren't messing around. They put in an Oscar winner. They put in Colin Farrell. They put in Catherine Waterston, who plays Tina, and Dan Fogler. And they kept announcing this cast. And Ezra Miller is, yeah, we're talking about a pretty controversial cast here, guys. That's right.
Ezra Miller.
Ezra.
What kind of crap am I going to do today to contribute here?
But at that time, Ezra Miller was still calmer. It was only later that he changed. Fantastic Beasts aimed to expand the universe featuring great actors. When the movie came out, there was all the filming. I remember, do you? Dan Fogler, who plays Jacob, had a Twitter account, right? And it was a time when J.K. Rowling in Brazil, it was a time when J.K. Rowling tweeted a lot too. And she would give some hints, for example, that the movie was going to take place in New York. Yeah, she would put some little anagrams there. And Dan Fogler was there on Twitter.
Dude.
The Brazilian Harry Potter fandom on Twitter back then was wild. Like, everyone was excited, creating stuff. There was the expectation of Harry Potter's return to theaters.
Yeah, I remember, man, Dan Fogler follows me on Twitter, you know?
He follows me too. He's the man.
I remember he retweeted something of mine back then. Yeah.
He's a really great guy. He's a good person. I also had the experience of 2 premieres. I'll tell everyone, I think it's cool because Dan Fogler knows these guys. Today, Dua Lipa's boyfriend, Callum Turner.
Callum Turner, that's right.
Today, he's Dua Lipa's boyfriend. But damn, it's really awesome. The guys were excited. We were excited.
Yeah, I think the movie talking about the movie itself, right? It started off really well. It was that thing, the expectation of the comeback. Everything was going really well. Trailers coming out. Expectations building up.
Until Johnny Depp was announced.
The fans, it was all peace and harmony among the fans.
Peace.
Harmony, that rainbow background, everyone likes it. Oh, what a good life.
Johnny Depp was announced.
He was announced on November 4th, and the movie premiered around the 16th, right?
And he had the case going on at that time, right? Yes, about
Amber Heard and everything, right?
About Amber Heard and domestic violence anyway.
And then, man, that already split people up, arguing, saying, oh, it wasn't mine. It wasn't mine. Grindelwald, I don't know what. That really divided people, right?
The first movie felt weaker and less impactful to me. It didn't have as much impact because it was announced. The movie was coming out in 10 days. Why? Because casting Johnny Depp was a big spoiler for the movie.
It was a spoiler, but they didn't reveal who.
I don't think they stayed silent because of the issues. I think they just didn't say it.
To ruin it.
So it wouldn't spoil the surprise since the franchise needed a villain and chose Grindelwald. Okay, cool. So they announced it, and actually it leaked after 10 days, right? His name was only revealed at the time of the movies. But first, what do you think about Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, the movie?
I really like the movie. I think it has a very well-rounded script. It has a beginning, middle, and end. It unfolds in a cool way, you know? Do you relate to Newt? He's a character. Man, I remember there was an event, that global event.
Tell us about that event, man.
That global event in October.
Right.
It was October 16th or 13th.
I think it was October 16th, about a month before the movie.
There was nearly a t-shirt. I want to be a wizard.
We got a wand from Newt Scamander.
We got it from Warner.
It was with Warner in a full box.
It was Nubble Collection.
Man, a Scamander's wand. For everyone who goes to this exact global event, and this global event is basically everyone. In the movie theater and on the movie screen, we had a host in each country. That's right, there was a host in each country. Each one was there interviewing the actors, sharing news with the fans, and we would watch 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, it was a surprise. Those 10 minutes.
The 10 minutes you didn't know it was going to be released?
It was a surprise. As I recall, it was a surprise.
I remember, but the biggest surprise that day was announcing I started. The franchise's failure started that day. Then,
You think?
a little, because on that day I think they bit off more than they could chew.
As the saying goes,
It was a trilogy.
The song My Way. You bit off more than you could chew.
I feel that I don't know what you think about it.
it's on that day, just to give some context about what happened, right?
In addition to talking with representatives, it was cool. There was one in Mexico and others in various places worldwide.
And the cinema, the movie session was happening.
And then there was, well, it was kind of a junket, more or less, with a press conference with the actors.
The woman from London there who was representing London, it was kind of a surprise. J.K. Rowling was interviewing the other actors.
Kind of like that. She arrived to talk, everyone was there, and J.K. Rowling just said, oh, well, initially, the story was planned for 3 movies, but we realized it would have to be 5. Ah.
Wow.
No, the cinema was the...
Craze at the time, man, I also went crazy. It was a really cool thing because... And she even says that they were planning for the last movie to take place in 1946. Exactly.
Exactly what...
Was the Great Duel.
Great Duel. Grindelwald's fall.
It was really good news. I can't deny it. It was cool. I won't be a hypocrite. Say I didn't freak out because I was really happy.
It was amazing. It was amazing. I was ecstatic at the time.
And the actors' reaction, do you remember? They were kind of like they didn't know, man. And just imagine, they signed a 3-movie contract since it was announced as a trilogy, right? At first, yes. Then she says they're considering 5 more. I don't know, an actress like Catherine Waterston, for example, Tina. Oh, I got myself into a 5-movie franchise, you know? Sometimes that's not what I wanted for my career, right?
Yeah, you never really know.
You can't really know. I just know the reaction of some people. One celebrates, another goes, oh my God. And then it just ends up like that, right?
That day was really cool. And then there's the part in the trailer where Jacob is inside Newt's suitcase, clapping his hands. He says, right? I want to be a wizard? Then there was the premiere t-shirt. I want to be a wizard, man. An amazing shirt. I still keep mine to this day. And Warner even gave me one in my size. Extra small, wow. Look at my size. Someone who wears extra small. No, that doesn't work, but I still keep it.
Soon Katarina can wear your shirt.
Right. Yeah, I still keep it to this day. I remember back then, like, hey, do you want to trade? No, I was really happy with the shirt. No, I'll keep this one, because I was afraid of ending up without the shirt, you know?
And I keep it like it's a real treasure to me.
At home, when a shirt starts to fade, I use it to sleep in. So there came a time when I was using this shirt to sleep. And that's how life went, right?
What's that? The guy doesn't value the relics? I don't use them, I keep them.
I'm talking to a collector here who keeps things behind glass, and
Locked up? There are things I've never even opened.
he keeps his extra small shirt, and here I am, putting it to bed. I love it.
It's torn, so I'll use it as a rag and dust with it then. But about the movie, talking about the plot itself, I really like it.
Man, I remember getting emotional. And then we watched the first 10 minutes of the movie at this event. And I remember that the first scene already starts with that soundtrack. Inside the case plays and it zooms in on Newt. He's on the ship. And the affection he already shows for the creatures there when he tells Dougal to behave.
Otherwise, he would have to get off, and you could see how careful he was with the suitcase.
That really moved me. I remember my eyes tearing up watching that. You know, because I really like Newt, I had no idea I would like him so much. I already liked him, like in the little book Fantastic Beasts. From the little I read there, and from his chocolate frog card, I already thought he was interesting, you know?
And then, when I saw him, like, we started to actually see his image.
It was really cool for me.
For me in total credit. I believe for Ed Redmayne too, because I think Ed Redmayne is very versatile and the role of Newt fit him perfectly. You see kindness, you see purity, you see everything that a Hufflepuff represents, so much so that Hufflepuff was always seen as the house of the background characters. And Newt, he came and showed like, man, Hufflepuffs are really cool, man. And it's cool to mention that before Newt showed up, there was that whole newspaper scene, right?
Yeah,
Grindelwald makes his first appearance.
yeah, his name, right? He opened Hogwarts.
Hogwarts too, right?
Hogwarts, wow. Those newspapers were full of Easter eggs and details. So much happening. The wizarding world unfolding right before us. Yeah, because it was already set up there from the beginning. Look, yeah, Fantastic Beasts, it's Newt. But look, there's something going on, you know? There's an atmosphere here of war, of things happening that's going to be explored, you know? And I like the path of the first movie. I really like it. I really like the way it's developed. The relationship between Newt and the creatures.
Although I think some decisions could have been better, some of them are even explained, right?
Some of them are even explained. For example, the Axio on Pelusio, because then they say, oh, there, he's not saying Axio, Pelusio. He's just saying, oh, Axio.
It could be on the jewelry that's on Pelusio, because Pelusio pulling it is perfect. Then it's perfect, yes.
But in the next movie, which we'll discuss,
He says, yeah, that's right.
you know,
Fantastic Beasts, that's how it is. It's and where to find them. The first one was released in 2016, and it's cool because it took place in New York. And what is the wizarding world like in New York? Exactly where is it? There is a Ministry of Magic in New York. There is a Magical Congress of the United States, which is Magical Congress of the United States of America. And when Newt enters Magical Congress of the United States of America, it really brought back the magic of Harry Potter for me. When you watch Fantastic Beasts, you'll agree when he enters the building there and realizes it. It also has a beautiful soundtrack by James Newton Howard, one of my favorite composers since The Hunger Games. I already liked his soundtracks, so when he was announced for Fantastic Beasts and delivered, it felt magical. In this first movie, there are many references to Harry Potter, but none feel forced.
Yeah, no, the elements are there, that's it, they're there. Because it's like, you look and you say, it's the same world.
That's it.
that's the feeling you get.
Exactly, that's the feeling you get, something that the other movies after couldn't follow. That too, because, for example, we're talking about a movie now where Dumbledore is mentioned, Fantastic Beasts, Dumbledore is mentioned. You don't need to put a Dumbledore there for the movie to make almost $900 million at the box office, which is what it made. There wasn't this need for forced fan service, you know, because I think in the other movies there was a bit of that forced fan service.
What I think is about the other movies.
They got desperate and were like, oh my god.
We need to bring in things from Harry Potter because the audience doesn't buy what's not from Harry Potter.
And I feel like I don't know if it was because I was seeing it for the first time or really because of the return of Harry Potter to theaters. I think the audience really embraced the first movie's concept.
They didn't buy it mainly because it was a return.
It was the return.
I think what brought people to the theater the most was this point. It's a Harry Potter spin-off movie. It's the return of Harry Potter to theaters in the world of Harry Potter.
So the fans showed up in large numbers, but many fans didn't like it.
There's that too, right?
Many fans didn't. They were expecting a lot of what they saw in Harry Potter, but what they saw in Fantastic Beasts didn't please them.
And, okay, that's part of it.
So I think a lot of it came from that, like, I'll watch it because, wow, it's from the world of Harry Potter. All right.
I'm curious, right? It was an event movie, right? It was the return of Harry Potter to theaters. People watched out of curiosity, then left saying, okay.
The whole thing about the Obscurus, right? I thought it was really cool, really awesome. How does it work? How does it happen? I like the plot where, like, they keep pointing to one, they keep pointing all the time to the little girl, but it wasn't her, Modest, right?
Yeah, it wasn't her. It was like Credence the whole time.
That's really cool, yeah. And the reveal of Grindelwald at the end, man, it's really awesome. It's really cool, too. It's really awesome.
When they started introducing the Muggle world part, right, with Jacob being the Muggle among all the wizards, I already felt that ending was going to happen with the memory. In the end, him having to forget everything, and it was one of the coolest scenes too. I remember when I saw that scene for the first time, for me it's one of my favorite scenes in the whole franchise. It's even more fantastic when the Thunderbird is flying over and cleaning, it's erasing everyone's memory. Man, and that song, A Close Friend, playing, and it's really loud.
It's really awesome.
I love it. It fills my heart with joy. Remembering that first Fantastic Beasts movie.
And one thing I think was really important for the first Fantastic Beasts movie was the preparation. Do you remember the stories that came out introducing magic in North America?
They were getting everything right, my friend. They were getting everything right. We had the revelation of other schools, yes, and we mainly had an animation, which was kind of an animation.
It was incredible. Man, really well done. They were animations. There were 4 animations.
I remember Evermorning.
So there was the magic.
They started splitting up.
Right? There was magic in the century. So much so that it talks about Native Americans, the skinwalkers. People know what magic was like before the Europeans arrived on the American continent. Then, Evermorning, the Salem witch hunts, which were very important for the statute of secrecy.
What explains the North American community being so segregationist?
Witch, muggle, like magical and non-magical people, right? That's really cool, man. It was really cool to be able to see more of the schools. Remember? The schools map was unveiled at an event held in the park.
In Orlando, Ivana Lynch was there.
A gigantic map with the schools. Man.
Wow, what was that? At this event, they revealed the Brazilian school Castelo Bruxo, the Japanese school, and the African school. They were developing, they seemed to be really on target, right? Pointing the way, making the right moves, right? Making the right moves, right? Everything was going really well. That created a hype. It created a really cool expectation for the first movie, and it paid off, man. It was a movie that did great at the box office. The movie made nearly $900 million at the box office. It also earned the first Oscar for the Harry Potter universe, which the 8 Harry Potter movies never did. I consider this a major offense, and we've discussed it before.
It's unfair, right? The competition was just...
But I think we could have managed to get some of them. But the competition was really tough. It was really strong.
It truly was the decade of Lord of the Rings. The production reminded me like that. I never forget.
Every fan was traumatized when Harry Potter lost the 2012 Best Makeup Oscar to the Iron Lady. And she's really good, okay? But I remember that I used to say, with all my technical expertise as a teenager, like, what do you mean, man? Like, are you guys kidding me, man? Seriously?
Mine.
Man, these occasional mistakes from Oscar dudes, seriously.
They're occasional Academy mistakes.
From the PUA Academy. But then I remember that I was really happy with that Oscar. It was a new beginning. We were happy, but what happened? The Johnny Depp controversy. And guys, we're not here on this podcast to talk about anything regarding Johnny Depp. What I mean is that the Johnny Depp controversy kept getting more intense. Any
controversy? Yeah, any controversy doesn't exist. For me.
It's just that a lot of people say, oh, it's marketing, but no, negative things are also marketing.
I disagree a bit when it comes to box office, yeah, because, man, it affects it. There are people who were like that. The people who wanted to boycott, yeah, and didn't go to watch it. They campaigned against the movie because Johnny Depp was in it, and there was this whole issue with him. Yeah, about his case, which was really trending.
It's his case, it was trending, and after Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them came out, his case got even more attention. Jake Rowling even had to make a statement about it. I remember I was at Comic-Con Experience when she made a statement saying they were going to keep Johnny Depp in the cast. And the second movie was even named after the villain. The villain is Crimes of Grindelwald. Man, it was...
I remember people saying that Depp hit his wife. Man.
But what a title choice. They really didn't know.
Man, yeah, it was. I think that's when it began.
That's when it really started.
The beginning of things falling apart. That's when it happened, you know? But I'm still going to say something here. Even though a lot of people might say, you're crazy. The second movie that came out there in 2018.
It's the one I like the most. Damn.
It's my favorite, and it'll be interesting because I completely disagree. We'll discuss it here and reach a conclusion since it's a movie that splits the audience.
It's my favorite, but it's not the one I think is the best. I can separate that very well, mono, okay. I can divide that very well, okay.
Imagine this happened. J.K. Rowling wrote the script. I like to speculate, gossip, I don't know. J.K. Rowling wrote the script for the first one. Okay, it's halfway done. They chose to make 5 movies. Wow, 5 movies. We have to tell a lot of story, right? Damn, 4 more movies. What are we going to tell? So let's create more characters. All right, let's bring Credence back, right? Because there's a...
But the first movie already showed that at the end.
Credence hadn't died.
So there was already an intention to bring him back.
There's actually a deleted scene showing part of the Obscurus flying off.
He escapes New York and boards the ship.
All right, but okay, Nagini, for example, Nagini or the Crow, Lestrange, Leta Lestrange, Theseus Scamander, already married to Leta. And I really want to hear your opinion why. And of course, everyone was waiting for young Dumbledore on screen, played by Jude Law.
Uh-huh.
How all of this together, which is one of the reasons people, I think, stop consuming the franchise even more. No more Fantastic after the second. How do you explain this?
Man,
So it appeals to both casual viewers and fans.
that's something we really need to make clear here. The problems with Fantastic Beasts, they're very targeted at the casual audience. Very targeted at the general public.
They're not for the hardcore fans, right?
What is a hardcore fan, really? Most are, at least. Yeah, of course, I'm talking about experiences I've had and people I spend time with the people who follow my channel, who follow the content I make and that I see, right? Who like the movie, the saga itself, and who understand things, even if they're a bit confusing.
Because, well, Fantastic Beasts and the Crimes of Grimm.
The world has a lot of side stories. It has a lot of side stories, and it seems like it can't develop any of them very well.
Even with Yusuf Kama. Damn, man, I watched this movie, and when they take that thing out of his eye and everything, it's something that makes you go, wow.
For what?
Guys, stop it. Yeah, it doesn't go back to the main plot. Then, man, you know...
It's something like, I think the point of this is...
The movie is Fantastic Beasts. We have to have creatures. So, they put in a few little things, oh, it's a parasite from a water dragon that must be in the sewer. I don't know, right, that it lives there. The plots themselves don't bother me. They don't bother me, especially because I can get into them easily. I can get into Yusuf Kama's story. I can do that.
But that's because you're a hardcore fan, right?
Exactly now. Who is the casual audience? We're not saying this in a dismissive way. Oh, who's not a fan? That's right.
Doesn't know their backstory? Exactly.
If you don't have that backstory, like that background of the story, background, backstory, backstory. If you don't have that background of the story, there are things that just won't make sense, And
then you're like, man, what's going on? What is this? What's happening? The Lestrange family. All right, that speech, man. Grindelwald's escape, I have to say. Grindelwald's escape is spectacular.
Yeah, it's a really awesome opening.
For me, it's among the best scenes in all the movies of the...
Along with Harry Potter?
Along with Harry Potter, I think it's a spectacular scene.
It's good. It's really good.
Do you understand?
Now what gets me is that they've already realized, I don't know if this was intentional, if they realized the audiences need to have much more Harry Potter, which is evident in that story.
Right? Then they already change, just like that. The first entry there is the United States Ministry of Magic, my friend. The story had a whole build-up, Magical Congress of the United States. That's why it's called Magical Congress of the United States of America. Magical Congress of the United States of America. Why would you change it to American Ministry of Magic? You also lose the acronym, Magical Congress of the United States of America, which is its actual name.
Makusa, that's right.
It's a thing. So why do they do it?
Ministry of Magic? It's something that the fan,
Or the
more casual fan, or the person who never really got into it, just watch the Harry Potter movies will go, oh, Ministry of Magic is from Harry Potter, Those little things bother me, those small details. I think it was a mistake,
Now, Nagini, they created an expectation, a buzz. Nagini.
Who? Maledictus? Who is the woman on the poster? I found it.
I thought it was really cool.
That they released that image. You remember, right? That the characters moved to. The first official image from the movie, which shows Maledictus and your Scamander next to Leta Lestrange.
But then, oh, Nagini, cool. We're like, wow, Nagini. That bothers me too. Because many people say they're making things up, but if you really look at it, that's not true. there's a record of one of the fake names. Because when the Harry Potter books were being released, there were fake titles to throw people off the real title. And one of the registered titles was The Curse of Nagini. That's right.
That was me in 2007, man.
2007. So it wasn't something like, oh wow, it was invented just to put it there. It was just that it was possible to put it there. We have room. Let's put it here.
It's because the books, they definitely existed. They went through revisions too, yes. And she probably thought of several stories that didn't make it into the books.
Not for the book, and then you take it.
We have these elements of Nagini being a different kind of snake ever since Goblet of Fire, back when we have it like this. Her feeding Voldemort, right? That wormtail milked her. She gets milked for venom, and even though the snake in the movie isn't a venomous snake, it doesn't matter. In the story, she is.
Milking is removing venom from a fang, right?
Right.
But we have a concept art of Fire Snake, where that
rudimentary body of Voldemort is literally suckling, and Nagini has breasts, but a snake doesn't have breasts, you know?
wow.
That's crazy.
So, like, you see that the pieces of the puzzle were already there, you know? So, it's not something like, wow, they invented it or anything, but that's how it is. The fan, like, who isn't really deep into it, the person who isn't really deep into it, it's even worse. They're not going to look at something like this and say, wow, you know, like...
I need to ask you a quick question. Do you think the home box office series is going to do a retcon, or will it keep this idea of Nagini being a human? And what if it does? Or are they just going to ignore it and move on? Or will they take the opportunity to try to develop this story better?
Man,
I think that's a very interesting question, because we're seeing this series take very specific paths and show things that we know exist in the world.
wizard, right? For example, there are things in the series that don't show up in the books, but appear, like in a professor's article. For instance, there was a Harry Potter fan club, which was called... I can't recall the name, but this fan club, it was from Blansbury, which is the publisher HM, the first publisher, right, that bought the rights over in the United Kingdom. And it was this fan club. It started in 1998, and it went on until about 2000 more or less. And this fan club, it actually released 4 editions of the... What was the name? Daily Prophet articles, something like that. It was like a real Daily Prophet. Yeah, with news from the wizarding world and so on.
And there are characters that were introduced there even before they appeared in the book.
Like Gwynog Jones, who is the beater for the Holyhead Harpies, who was a student of Slughorn's.
It's the Pimpernel shop, which is in Diagon Alley.
I'm sure we'll see that in the home box office series. So there are things the series is adding that come from way back.
So they can use it. I don't know if they want to do a retcon, if that's what they want.
Like, well, Fantastic Beasts, yeah, that's out there. But here we're going to focus on the universe of the books. And that's it. I don't know, you know?
We talk about this thing, right? That actors from the movies won't be able to be in the series, and Ark Davis returns as Flitwick. So you open the door for Newt Scamander, played by Ed Redmayne, to appear in one of the seasons. For me, it's totally valid, especially for actors who take a long time.
They would have to age him well, huh?
Yeah, that's right, but still, they would have to do it with Neo, right? Melchior Mel, I remembered the one from Nemo the Seagull.
The pigeons.
The pigeon from Finding Mel, but that's it, you have Beauty. Let's get back to Grindelwald's crime. You also have a Dumbledore appearing for the first time, and Nicholas Flamel, a Philosopher's Stone. Yes, that little old lady with dwarfism is, what's her name? Starts with H.
Irma Dugard.
Irma Dugard. Man, all of that shows up. We have an engagement of the third Scamander with Leita. After the first movie, I suggested she was an old love of Newt.
Yeah.
Right? Then you see that she was a school friend. Newt was expelled. Man.
I really like that flashback. Come on, we need to talk, man. That actor who played young Newt.
I forgot his name, but he's really good.
Are you kidding? That's a young Ed Redmayne.
I have a picture with him. Did you know that? Seriously?
Man, that's awesome. Seriously.
And he was really good. Wow, he was really good. And in 2016, we went with the London group. Then we went to the 2018 premiere, and there was a chance to meet the author and the cast of Fantastic Beasts. Mila kissed me on the head. Thank goodness it wasn't a brick. Thank you, but that opportunity also came up. With respect, I think this one. The second movie is a real mess, man.
A total chaos.
It's a lot of mess, man.
You know what makes me feel this way? I'm going to use the word confused, but I'm not sure if that's exactly what I wanted to say here. The whole plot he creates to lure Credence to the cemetery, to reveal, we have the big final revelation, right?
Yes, oh, there's still that. We haven't even talked about that yet.
Dumbledore, my friend.
Cemetery scene? It's perfect, crazy, and also one of my top favorites. I don't know, Grindelwald's speech, but the whole cemetery scene with Queenie crossing over, it's really cool.
Him doing the opera, man, it's so good. That scene is really crazy. That scene is really like that.
It's one of the best scenes out of all the 8+11 movies in the wizarding world. For me, it's one of my favorites, but even so, it doesn't erase the mess that was mine. There was the whole flashback with Nenny, right? The baby swap. Look how much happens in this movie, man.
A lot of things happen.
Many things happen, like the Corvo Lestrange flashback. Also, people often associate the Lestrange name with Bellatrix.
She wasn't even born a Lestrange, right?
She's Black Bellatrix. That's why casual viewers got confused, didn't you? We know it's Rodolphus Lestrange, right? And things like that.
The second movie, it has a lot of inconsistencies with the pre-established universe. Minerva McGonagall, she's really young there.
Huh? They had to change the class that Dumbledore teaches too, didn't they? Actually, they showed Dumbledore teaching.
Defense against the dark arts.
He might have taught it at some point, okay?
But then you see, it's just there.
It was just for the fan service of the class looking aesthetically the same as Lupin's in Prisoner of Azkaban.
Ah, that's the flashback with the boggart, right? But they also visit Hogwarts and see Dumbledore. He's teaching, right? With the students there, right? Those are two different things.
They're different things, yeah, but even so, you understand.
Such unnecessary fan service?
An unnecessary fan service.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you think it's unnecessary. I thought it was cool when I saw it. The scene is still the same, right?
But maybe it could have, I don't know, been presented in a different way.
I would much rather see Dumbledore teaching a really complex transfiguration.
There, something. But then what did they need to do? Go.
In that thing about the fear of the creature, the boggart, the letter to put there, you know?
They could have put another teacher. They could have put Professor Mary Toth teaching there, because she was technically the teacher of...
Ah, but they weren't. They're not being careful. It looks like the home box office series is...
Exactly. They'll list Professor Mary Toth, and people will wonder who that is.
So who is this lady? Is it easier to put Dumbledore, right?
And then they mess things up a lot there, because there was that thing with Minerva.
I remember that people... I clearly remember seeing the date on Pottermore, that Minerva was born on October 4th, 1935.
They deleted that later.
And they removed the year of birth. Like, to put Minerva in the movie, And man, that's something I don't think is cool to do. And I remember that people, at the time, even tried, let's find a solution for Minerva.
Totally valid, because it's based on age. I remember they said that.
Her date was established by calculations that the fans made, but
But they didn't reveal that either, right?
Unless I'm just going crazy. And me? That date came to me on Pottermore, in a dream vision.
No, I'm sure you're not. You're detail-oriented too, right? And you make videos too, right?
I remember writing Minerva's story script and having that date. Man, I might be confused, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. I might have gotten confused. I might have thought I saw the date and I didn't. I don't know, but I remember that this caused confusion, not just for me. At the time, many people were like, wait, Minerva, come on. And she not only shows up, but really comes through.
Not only in the time when the movie takes place, which is 1927, but also in the flashback from 20 years earlier.
which is 1910, 1911. There it is.
I got that.
From 1908 and 1909, she's chasing the students. How could she be nearly older than Dumbledore? Maybe if she was already that age, since Dumbledore was from 1890 and 1881.
Yeah. 881.
He would be over 100 years old. Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
Right? She was actually younger. But then, okay, they put her there, didn't they?
It's something that, for me, it's like, wow, my God, it ruined the world.
Putting Minerva there. No, it didn't ruin it. But I feel like they put her there for that reason. To bring in elements already known from Harry Potter, afraid that people wouldn't get attached to the story.
But then we ask, at what cost? Because Minerva kind of doesn't do anything in the movie. I mean, she doesn't have any importance in Crimes of Grindelwald, so it's just putting her there for the sake of it. And the more you do that, just for the sake of it. And I don't want us to get repetitive here and start criticizing David Yates again, guys, but there's no way around it because David Yates really messed up in the marketing for Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald. Not literally, because I remember he did an interview saying that, oh, the fact that Dumbledore is gay, homosexual, wouldn't be implied. Everyone started betting, wondering if they'd hide that Dumbledore was gay, a fact revealed in 2007. Like, it's not something like, wow, that nobody knew, nobody understood, and I remember that then the blame fell on his shoulders. The fact that he and David Heyman said that they wanted to put Hogwarts in the second movie, but J.K. Rowling didn't want to put Hogwarts in the second movie.
They already wanted to, because...
They wanted to, why? Because they got caught up in this, guys. We can't lose money right now. We've already said it'll be 5. We have to put several Harry Potter characters in, do a lot of fan service, and that's going to work.
Oh, and let me tell you something. I freaked out when Hogwarts showed up in the trailer. I freaked out. I went crazy.
Yeah, I think everyone went crazy.
I was happy. I was really happy. Yeah, I was. And I thought, and I didn't. Hogwarts doesn't bother me in the movie. It just doesn't bother me.
The issue isn't Hogwarts, it's the movie that's bothering me.
Put?
It's the movie that stops. Literally, it stops to show. Of course, it's important to show all of this, but we can see that it's something added in, like, I don't know, if the movie were 20 minutes shorter. If I had to remove something, I'm not sure, since Dumbledore already appears in today's mirror. Zed, that's it.
This from...
About the pact, we barely talked about the blood pact. Man, it's like I said, you know what? Oh, yeah.
You know what? Not sorry, you know? What bothers me is Thorkel Travers showing up there, who was the head of the Department of Magical Law Enforcement
At the time.
He acts important at Hogwarts, but the students ignore him and just wait for Dumbledore's order.
He says, you can't act against Grindelwald because of this, pulls out his wand, and says, Grindelwald and Dumbledore. Young people there, like, how do they know that? Oh, it was a, how do they know, you know? Like, man, that's something...
That's something we just put in? Now someone is going to have to explain it?
It's totally revealed by Rita Skeeter, and it's explosive, like, wow. She got access to the letters, the stuff with Matilda Bagshot, who was already a bit out of it, and she used spells and potions to get it out of her.
And how come the guy who was the head of enforcement, the head of the Department of Magical Law Enforcement, technically didn't have any contact with Dumbledore?
Dumbledore's past. You know, man, like wand and does the Dumbledore's thing with Grindelwald right there with him.
I might say something stupid here, but do you think they created the Blood Pact exactly so it's not clear that Dumbledore didn't face Grindelwald because he was in love with him? Of course, that's revealed right at the beginning of the third movie, I know, but after all the controversies, I don't know if they were trying to create something. So it's not clear that, oh, I just didn't attack him because I was always in love with him.
But you know what? This blood pact also bothers me a little. Why? You can fit it into the story. You can even bring it in like, man, Ariana died because he had already made the blood pact. And then he tried to fight Grindelwald. Something went really wrong, and Ariana ended up dying.
What I expected in the third movie changed when they revealed that
detail was going to happen in the third movie.
I hope it really was going to happen.
It was.
And that's why, because he broke the pact.
We're about to get to the third movie, which is cool. The third movie is where we'll really go all out. I'm even going to grab another water over there, okay? Otherwise, I'll need a lozenge. It's just that there's a lot to talk about with the third movie, okay? The second one is still messy and introduces some little elements there that...
And a revelation we hardly discussed.
So, like, the blood pact worked well. But you know what? The blood pact takes away the weight of guilt from Dumbledore.
He lives a life of regret and guilt for what happened and is ashamed of what happened. So much so that this is what condemns him to death there, in Half-Blood Prince.
Because when he takes the resurrection stone, desperate to see his family and ask their forgiveness, he puts it on, forgetting that it's a Horcrux, and that condemns him, and the spell condemned him to death. Did you get it?
So do you see, the weight of his regret and guilt was so great
That it led to his death.
That it led to his death years later.
And the guys? That's why we who know the characters past, guys, I just wanted to say that Harry Potter is really awesome, you know? Because if they manage to bring all this remorseful side of Dumbledore to the home box office series, he's a guy who lived his life regretting not having taken better care of his sister. Was he so obsessed with the Deathly Hallows and Grindelwald that he forgot his family? It's a really awesome thing. So I think when the third movie comes out, we'll be able to talk about it better. Do you want to drink your water?
I do. I still wanted to finish discussing the second one. Well, I don't like it. When we pick up a spell to explain things that already have an explanation. For example, it's like, there's a theory. I made a Reels yesterday, or the day before. I don't know, these days. Oh, and the Dursleys are only mean to Harry because he's a Horcrux. You attribute all of the Dursleys' cruelty to Harry because he's a Horcrux, which fits how the Dursleys are portrayed. It has nothing to do with it. It's a horrible theory, bad and baseless. It's terrible.
Some people are just bad guys. You don't need to keep trying to find excuses. Exactly.
People who are bad, the way the character's personality is built is...
That's just how he is, not because he's bad.
Man, it's like, you know, taking Walter and then giving him redemption, something like that.
Oh, he's a good guy. Actually, he was just trying to protect Harry. I don't know. It's not because he's a bad person, you know?
He's a bad, prejudiced person. That's who he is. So we accept that. The Blood Pact is more or less this theory, just in an official way.
Oh, he can't fight just because of the Blood Pact.
It works in the story, but for me, it lessens the weight of guilt. Dumbledore even says that in the movie, in the conversation with Leta, right? She says something like that, and he replies, "Oh, for me, a sister, right?" Then she asks, "Did you love her?" And he answers full of bitterness, saying that not as much as he should have loved her, right? So it's a burden that he carries. But I think for the movie, they were afraid of that, not representing it in such a... It's not about not representing it. They were afraid it wouldn't be enough.
It seems like it, man, and for me,
It was more than enough.
You get it, right?
For me, it was something that I think the fans would actually enjoy seeing a lot more. Dumbledore's expanded role in the second movie makes more sense than those characters who add nothing to the story.
And seeing what Dumbledore is like, because people have this kind of image of him. Dumbledore is omnipresent, he's omnipotent, he's the Great One. Wow, he's practically God in the Harry Potter universe, isn't he? He's a human wizard with flaws, who made mistakes. So you understand, seeing this Dumbledore behind the powerful man who made mistakes, who had flaws, who was trapped by fear and insecurity of facing the truth and finding out that maybe his spell killed his sister. That's really heavy. There was no need for a blood pact, you know? So I think it takes away some of the weight, and then it goes to the third movie, which we're about to get to, right? Yeah, it goes to the third movie and all that. You can't destroy it. Whatever. And in the third movie, they destroy it, but all right.
But alright, it's the third movie. Actually, it's an attempt to fix everything they thought or that really went wrong in the second one. And I think they wanted to create kind of a moment. Star Wars and The Empire Strikes Back in the final reveal, which is Aurelius Dumbledore like, "I am your father." But at the same time, what caused such a stir of excitement in the SUS? But at the same time, it made people wonder, like, where are they going with this, man? You know, how are they going to explain this now? But then those wonderful theories start coming up like it could have been Credence, right?
Man, for me.
From the awful Philosopher's Stone for me.
They changed it. The story is totally different now. It was postponed, remember? I remember.
The third movie was postponed, the second came out in 2018, and the first in 2016. In 2020, the pandemic came, but it wasn't just the pandemic. Before the pandemic, there was already news the movie would be delayed for script adjustments, right? Exactly, to deliver a story for SS. Because The Crimes of Grindelwald was the worst movie in terms of reviews out of all 11. In the Harry Potter universe, something went really wrong with that movie. Exactly, both critics and casual audiences, although more passionate fans, love several things. It's hard for me not to like something from Harry Potter. We have this thing, like, I remember leaving the theater in ecstasy, you know?
And man, that's how it is.
I rated it 9 in a YouTube video and was excited.
I'm always like that. When I watch something, I watch it totally with emotion.
After watching it several times, I begin viewing more critically. Is that fair?
So, I totally let it go. It's something I do for myself. I do it for me, not for anyone else.
I don't let my fan side enjoy it yet.
Man, because, creating content for the internet is something where sometimes you have to give up who you are to please people. I don't do that, Mono. I just let my fan side speak and watch. Then I go and watch it calmly, analyze it, and look at the points. It doesn't mean that when I watch with my fan side, I don't notice things that are out of place. I notice it, but I don't let that ruin my experience,
Now, am I going to hate the world of Harry Potter? Hate this movie forever? With all my strength?
I don't do that,
Because that's really unfair, so we end up stuck like this. The second movie ended, and they delayed the third one a bit to make these course corrections. And then the pandemic hits, the pandemic comes and causes the movie's filming to be delayed even more. But what about changes?
The movie was partly set in Brazil, which people knew.
The movie was going to take place in Rio de Janeiro and in Brazil. That was already confirmed before the pandemic, that we would have a movie in Rio de Janeiro. Yes?
Man, we even feel sad. Sorry, I interrupted you. No.
No problem, no, I said how sad.
We even talked to Eduardo Lima, right? When the movie premiered.
Because even though it didn't take place in Brazil and they moved to Bhutan, we still had a bit of Brazil in it.
Vicencia Santos was competing, yes.
Yes.
She's the Brazilian actress.
He designed the Ministry of Magic Brazil logo, right? The logo.
There was a logo for everything and everything was ready. Concept art appeared.
I remember a bar there.
I remember a bar, some stuff like that, kind of with a Brazilian vibe. Then it showed up, right? The Wizards. They're at Parquilage. It's Parquilage.
So it's Parquilage.
That's Parquilage.
I went there. Wow, it was so exciting.
Where exactly is the Ministry of Magic located?
But I think it's not just that. I think it's like this. I don't know if Rio de Janeiro would just be the Bhutan part or if the whole movie would take place in Rio de Janeiro. No.
I don't think it was just a part.
It's just a part, right? What happened in Bhutan would probably be the election in Rio de Janeiro. I think there was a concrete story for what Tina was going to do in Rio de Janeiro. And then when the movie was, I don't know, I'm just speculating here, then Tina, because she appears...
Tina appears at the very end.
Just a minute of the movie. In the third one, man, what they put in...
Look, she got promoted. She's really busy.
They pulled that one, man. Come on, everyone. That makes no sense. So, the third one, The Secrets of Dumbledore. It was released in April 2022, and it comes with a mission to try to fix...
4 years between movies. Wow.
Wow, I hadn't realized that yet. It's 4 years.
2018, 2022, man.
My 4 years, look. Him, besides trying to correct, they come to look. Let's do this. If there aren't any more movies after this one, because we promised 5, but if it stops at this third one, then let's wrap everything up. So we don't have that thing of saying, okay, but what happened with the Blood Pact, okay? But who is Credence? Let's give all the answers to the audience now. Even if it means watching a movie that serves no purpose, or full of. We're going to say that I start getting really nervous when I remember Credence. Being the son of ABFR knows it's not cool, it's bad, it's bad. Do you see they didn't plan this from the start, guys? Plus the actor changes too, right?
The problem with Dumbledore's secret started way before the movie premiered. Way before the movie premiered. There was the green change. devolves, right?
The actor Johnny Depp,
He filmed the movie. He started filming.
you know, the gossip that he filmed. Literally, one scene, he went to the studio. Man, I have a photo of Johnny Depp with blonde hair hugging a fan. On that day of filming, he was already blonde with long hair. He would have the green returns, and then he films a scene, and the next day, Warner's Human Resources knocks on his door. And Toby Emmerich, who happened to have the result of one of the hearings come out right then.
It was against the Sun, and he lost to the Sun. They called him a wife beater. He sued for defamation, and he lost to the Sun. That's a mafia, man.
Of course.
The Sun is a mafia. It's a mafia. What they did with the royal family there, like, man.
Isn't it?
They say, it's a tabloid like that. Man, I hate that kind of thing, you know? Like, I hate that kind of tabloid stuff that puts out a bunch of things at any cost and sometimes lies. You know, like them, man. Princess Diana, she died because of paparazzi, being chased, tabloid stuff like that.
Tabloids, besides the British tabloids from everywhere. But damn.
You know, like, it's something that, man, puts people's lives at risk, but that's not even the point. The thing is, he lost the lawsuit against the Sun because the Sun has powerful people behind it, for sure, because otherwise they wouldn't do what they do, you know? So anyway, he lost that one.
That one, and the boss at Warner at that time was a guy named Toby Emmerich, which is, I have a theory, right, that I have. I don't know if it's true or not, but I have an internal theory in my head that J.K. Rowling wasn't told that Johnny Depp would be fired. Maybe they just told her, hey, we fired him.
Because the decision-making kind of got taken out of her hands, right?
The author never spoke publicly about the franchise again after Johnny Depp was fired. Not anywhere, not even on social media. And she used to be pretty active. Talking about Greenwood's crimes. Fantastic Beasts, from the moment Johnny Depp was fired, she never spoke publicly about the Fantastic Beasts franchise again. Never again, never again.
That's right.
Not to mention that basically they said, let's rewrite a script here. Steve Kloves was called.
I think what affected her the most
Was kind of...
As a screenwriter, like her own creation, they came and said, hey, you're not doing it right. We're going to put a man here to do it with you. I think that's...
But I also have that hunch. I have that idea.
Maybe if it were a woman to work with her there.
She's not like a Francesca Gardner. She's on Home Box Office now. You know exactly that the showrunner of Harry Potter is a woman.
I think there was a lot, but that's just my opinion.
But it's just an opinion. I think it's a pretty good opinion because it's basically the Washington Post. Last year, he published an article that made the rounds. There were several meetings at Warner, right, during that Fantastic Beasts time, and that was basically it. Can you imagine carrying all that weight, for example? I don't want Hogwarts to be in the movie. Then David Yates came and said, but I want Hogwarts to be in it later. The screenwriter gets a lot of criticism for trying to tie together all these choices that the guys brought in, like, no, Hogwarts has to be there, no, Dumbledore has to be there.
And not to mention that she's the owner of the Harry Potter franchise, but the audio-visual production rights for the movies.
It's Warner Bros.
Warner always gets its way. If Warner wants Hogwarts in the movie, she agrees, since she chose to write the whole screenplay. They're in charge, that's just how it is. Early versions are shown to executives who must give their input. No, I didn't like this version. Don't use Hogwarts, add Minerva McGonagall and other changes. All right, you want all of that? Okay.
So, all right, then the change happened, right?
I think Marius is awesome. Calcio is awesome. You know, damn, really cool.
I always see the bright side of things, like that. I really like Johnny Depp. You know.
Me too.
I liked him a lot, really a lot.
He created the entire characterization. It's all Johnny Depp, kind of creating this so the character would be memorable, so much so that he's much more memorable than Grindelwald. Yes, you'll remember Grindelwald. You'll probably remember Grindelwald, Johnny Depp's Grindelwald.
But then, I have to say, I think Johnny Depp's Grindelwald is really cool, really awesome, but he's very rock star, right?
Isn't he?
And Mads Mikkelsen's Grindelwald is more of a politician. The kind of politician I imagine, you know?
So, like, I can really see both of them there. Like, Johnny Depp's Grindelwald is a wizard, like, no, I'm a wizard and that's it. I wear these cool robes and that's it.
I'm remembering when we recorded that ad, me as Dumbledore and you as Grindelwald. I need to mention this, Dunnings. I have to talk about Pedro, and I don't care. Is that okay? We had to redo the opening scene from The Secrets of Dumbledore, and something hilarious happened. We laughed a lot while filming until 11 p.m. Roku wanted to kill us. Why? Because we kept laughing and couldn't record the scene.
They hired us to do a scene from the movie, from the script, to promote the script. That's it, man. Tiago and I aren't actors. We have zero acting experience.
No, so alright, then what happens? During the scene, there's a moment when Grindelwald, Kako played Grindelwald, said this in the movie. Do you remember? You can smell it, but Kako lets out a fart like that for about 20 seconds, maybe 10 seconds. Before we filmed this scene,
I was holding the modem. Man,
how am I going to keep from laughing in the next scene? Can you smell that? Of course. Man, it stinks everywhere here.
you crapped your pants. Of course I can smell that.
It's not terrible. And then the guys, man, the cameraman,
Again, we
couldn't do it.
The guys are laughing again.
We couldn't record this take because it was too funny.
I remember Tiago like this. He would mess up and say sorry. Then at one point he said he messed up. Sorry, whatever. I'm not an actor either.
Sorry, man, but wow, that day was really funny. It was really good. We acted in that scene at the beginning saying we were in love. Man, it was amazing, man. It was funny, dude. It was a really good day, man.
And when the motorcycles went by, we stopped. Go back.
Dude, but it was amazing. But getting back to the topic, I had to cut you off.
because that was good. That was good. It was a cut. So I really like both. Grindelwald, you know, I like him. I think that
So, why does the third movie matter to me? Why me? What's shocking to me is that the third movie is better. I swear to you. Why?
not because of the plot twists.
Even because if it were because of that,
No, it's not because of the plot twist, but the third movie. For me, it's the best because its political plot is really cool. It's nice. I think it's really cool to see the whole wizarding society because that's what I've been saying from the beginning.
I think expansion is really cool.
I think it's really average. To be honest, I think their fight to stop Grindelwald from coming to power is really average. But I think it's really amazing.
Behind it all, the wizarding world itself, like the German Ministry of Magic, acquitting Dan,
acquitting Grindelwald?
them playing all the political games and such, showing wizarding society, like,
Man, I thought that was really cool. I thought it was really cool.
He's a guy who couldn't run for election. Then out of nowhere they came.
they acquit him due to lack of evidence.
The guy can run.
That's really cool. That's really cool to see. Really cool to see. And then we see the influence of the real Grindelwald.
That's because he's a populist. And you see him being carried. Oh, he's inside the car, right? Then he says, I want to go out, right? Because he knows that the crowd.
Will carry him. Exactly. In other words,
This is for those others, the so-called Envicencia, who are a bit fancier, right? You see a guy totally in Mano's arms.
it's really crazy.
Man,
And like, he's manipulative and all.
So, I think the movie's plot is really cool. That's why, I think it's the plot that grabs me the most. It's
of
all the movies.
But the resolution part, my friend, I thought was really cowardly. Them having changed it, them having put that in. I can't say for sure that they changed it, but you know that feeling. I know, but I can't prove it. It's that they made Aurelius the son of Aberforth. Like,
no.
dude, you don't know.
Even for those who watched the other movies and saw that whole story about the baby being switched from the Lestrange family, the fact that the Philosopher's Stone appeared. Honestly, I don't think that was fan service among so many fan services that this movie actually had. That wasn't one of them. Because there's a really cool theory, right? What's the term again? When a human being is created, a homunculus, right? That's what it would be. Credence would have been created using the Philosopher's Stone by Nicholas Flamel and Dumbledore.
And Ariana's Obscurus, man. It was like that, yeah, even the name, right? Ariana is like, yeah, she's silver and Aurelius is gold, okay? It matched perfectly. This theory is really...
And the author really likes alchemy, so it's like, it's a thing.
She studied a lot to create the Harry Potter universe. And alchemy, right?
Then it would make perfect sense. Then you come up with such a simple resolution, so simple, like so bland.
You know what I think happened?
From the bottom of my heart, I think they looked at this and said what?
Yeah? How there was a wave of people adding things to the Harry Potter story, making up prejudices in the Harry Potter story, after J.K. Rowling's statements about trans people. Yeah, I think they were terrified of going ahead and doing the following.
Ah, it was a girl they tried to save through the Obscurus. And then, she became a man. In quotes. Okay?
And then she had a tragic end and died, because it wasn't possible to live like that.
I think what the guys thought was, no, this will work. People are definitely going to say that.
Basically, they were trying to recreate Ariana Dumbledore.
So,
That's the theory.
yeah, and then I think the executives must have thought no, they're going to say to cancel this, right? Yeah, they're going to say it's her, J.K. Rowling, putting messages in the movie oh, look, trans people. I'm not sure, but I think they changed it to something else.
I remember that when the movie came out, I said in the videos they revealed it in a certain way.
They chose something subtle to do it like that, right?
Simple, that doesn't affect anyone.
It's a simple thing. Okay,
A bar guy, a womanizer, for sure he would get someone pregnant, The father.
It doesn't make sense for the child to be taken away like that. And what about that mirror? Man, how does Aberforth... That bothers me. How does Aberforth talk to Credence Aurelius through a mirror?
over there in Nurmengard, that's the castle of Grindelwald.
All right, Sirius's mirror, which later goes to Aberforth, that's something else.
That's a different story. But even with that, they wanted to make it the same.
He talks to Harry through the mirror, so let's have him talk to Credence the same way. It's a thing. You think it doesn't make sense? It doesn't make sense for you to take this and think the fan will be happy.
Exactly. And then you see that they tried so hard, really, really hard to show it.
Look, this is Harry Potter. You can even see it in the posters. Hogwarts in the background, the Phoenix, and then Grindelwald versus Dumbledore on the poster. That whole super final battle vibe from Deathly Hallows.
The thing is, if they already tried to bring fan service in the second one, the third was total. It was desperation, pure desperation. I recall 3 trailers for Secrets of Dumbledore being released, though there may have been more. The first 2, they kind of already had a thing. Both started with the same scene at Hogwarts.
Yeah.
There was no change in the frame type at all. I was surprised.
And then you enter the room, you realize it was a thing. What? It was also super fan service, They got so involved that they wanted to create identities for things, like Pelucio.
Now it's called Ted. It had no name in the first 2 movies, but in this one, it's called Ted.
Ah, the manticores. How ridiculous are those manticores? The manticore is a creature that it's known for having a lion's head body. Then a little scorpion shows up. That little dance scene, man. Wow.
It's meant to make the casual audience laugh, not just fans. Everyone can find Ed Weirman dancing funny again.
Exactly. Or maybe they wanted to do that Aaron Penty thing from the first movie, which was perfect, And then, that whole plot about the secret prison for enemies of the state. That's awesome, the chilling plot. Really cool. Wow.
Wow, really cool. I like it. I really like the creature they chose exactly, and they chose 2 Chinese creatures, right? Both in the second and third, because surprisingly, not in the first Fantastic Beasts movie, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. It was a hit in China. I don't know if you knew that. It was a hit. It made a lot at the box office in China. They said, let's please the Chinese even more with the first movie. Let's put a Chinese creature in the second one, and in the third, another Chinese creature. Because I say, it sounds like, my God, someone help us, right?
Exactly. The original plan for Fantastic Beasts was to visit several places around the world, right?
Yes.
Yes. The first was New York. The second was France, right?
Third, Germany.
France, Germany.
It wasn't going to be in Brazil, right?
The third one was going to be in Brazil. The fourth.
Maybe Germany, I don't know.
So it was all planned out. But then they were forced to recalculate their route because of the pandemic and everything. One thing that I think is really off in the movie is Dumbledore.
Creating that map in Hogwarts with a button,
I'm not bothered that Hogwarts is computer-generated imagery in this movie. It's not real, just computer-generated. I know, but what do I mean? They're filming in the Great Hall on a green screen. If you look, you'll see pentagons.
Since the Great Hall was used in the tour,
Exactly. The hall there was a green screen. Even Hogwarts kind of doesn't really exist there, you know. It doesn't feel real. It doesn't look like they're stepping on a floor. It's not realistic at all. Then Dumbledore comes in. Then he makes the map. Let's go to Bhutan. I like the third act of this movie. I actually like it. I think the part with the killing creature is really cool. It's a Dumbledore movie. Basically speaking, like, I don't deserve it. I don't deserve anything.
I don't deserve happiness or love. I don't deserve anything.
And I especially don't deserve it. I have so many regrets in my life that I don't consider myself pure of heart. Well, a good ruler, which is everything that Shilling, the creature Shilling, is looking for. So when Shilling goes and kneels before Dumbledore, you're the chosen one. I wanted you to win this election. Even if it didn't make sense to many, it's still the strongest proof you deserve it.
There's purity there. It's not about being someone who never made mistakes. But purity doesn't come from someone who never made mistakes.
You're filled with regret. Your life is consumed by it. And did you mention that Ariana's scene was really going to be like that?
Because of how the second movie ends,
The revelation,
he shows the blood pact, he and Newt going to talk. David Yates revealed in an interview that the beginning of the movie would be Dumbledore talking to Newt, telling him about Ariana and explaining the blood pact.
and I remember that he said, he even used that term, I remember that interview with Yates as if it were one. Not a family tree, but a beautiful memory of Dumbledore's family history exactly.
And then what comes in as well?
The actress was hired. There's an image of her in character as Ariana.
And the guys cut it out completely. They removed it. You can tell they changed the story in the third movie, although I think it's the best because of the political plot and the pacing.
You can see that it was one story and it was changed. You can see that it was transformed.
You know what scene for me defines the third movie? Is the definition of we messed up and a total screw up. When Eulalie, she talks at the bus stop with Jacob about everything that happened in the previous movies. She gives a recap,
Right?
summary of all events. But that happened, your wife did this and that. It's basically like, look, the couple's audience is lost. We need to get them back on track, you know? Exactly.
It was an attempt to really explain everything to someone who hasn't watched the other movies, you know?
But she still says it wrong, right? Because she says a year and a half ago, like my friend. The first movie is set in 1926, the second in 1927. The third one, it jumps ahead. It's 32. There's a huge time jump.
Not even the guys knew where they were lost.
The newspaper was dated 1932, but about a year and a half ago, she had no idea.
Where he was. Guys, leave your opinions down below in the comments, whether you agree or disagree with us about the Fantastic Beasts franchise. What are your thoughts? And we always leave the QR code for the Howler moment here so you can send your message. You can send a message talking about the podcast, your opinion about Fantastic Beasts, but the QR code is always here on the side so you can send your message while we're talking. Because after the third movie...
And then we have that fight. Oh, wow. The fight with Grindelwald. With Dumbledore, right? That's cool. I like it, people. Just like that, they just hadn't met until the fateful 1945, when Dumbledore defeats Grindelwald. But then we see that there's a time for when they're fighting. Because the pact is breaking, it slows down.
For me, it's like only they are seeing that, so the rest of the world really isn't.
I think people don't really get that no one else is seeing that happen.
They're seeing it, yeah.
It's like the movie's opening scene,
That in the memory.
which is in the memory, in the mind, it's in the mind. It's like, it seems like they meet in the memory, in the mind. Yes, mind. So, it's just a meeting. Nothing more than something you might have wanted to do. Or maybe not. But is anyone?
Who is Dumbledore? On the subway, man.
Yeah, that's right.
But like, yeah, in his mind, he needs to take the subway. Public transportation.
The guy there is like in that movie, he gets off here, you know, at the subway. But damn, yeah, the soundtrack,
Maybe he doesn't know or is remembering. I'm not sure.
the soundtrack of that scene with the pack, the battle between the two is really good. It's good. I really like the way that scene was filmed. The pack coming in like that in the middle of the screen and destroying itself. And it has a really good soundtrack. And there's also the score, which for me is the high point of the whole Fantastic Beasts franchise. Of course, there were a lot of hits and misses, but the soundtrack is really good. is during the ending, when Dumbledore is there, Newt, Jacob marries Queenie, and we have a conclusion. He's walking down the street, a lone man.
Really powerful.
This scene is really cool because we have a wedding where two people are authorized, but they weren't really that authorized. But there's a man and a woman there getting married, living a happy ending, and he's walking alone on the street. In the sense of, I'll never know what that's like. I don't even deserve to go in there. For me, happiness, especially with a partner, just feels impossible, right? It's basically that the guy I love, I can't be with him. Man, it's tough, but I like this ending.
He's a damn ball hog.
I really like this final scene from the third movie.
Yeah, so those are the things that make me really enjoy the third movie, despite its problems. I also need to highlight one point about the third movie. The design is incredible, by the way, in all of them. The design of Fantastic Beasts, the movie design, and the designers themselves. Mina Lima is.
But we're not fans, not even a little bit of fans of them. I don't exaggerate, I really exaggerate.
I'm a huge fan of theirs. Seriously, they do such beautiful work. Really beautiful. Really beautiful. It's like a work of art.
It's passionate work, right?
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Man, I visited Mina Lima. I was in London, and he was showing the props used in the movie.
The ticket to watch the vote there at
There was even this ticket.
There's the little ticket that Newt has to go there, right? At the vote of
The Confederation button.
International Wizards Confederation.
It's made with some little wooden details, a small piece of wood that actually comes from a button.
Wow. So it's really cool to see. So all of this, for me, really enriches the story. What's not good gets lost along the way, because the audience watching doesn't care if the wood came from there.
If the ticket, that's something for people who are more into this stuff, And then there are these problems.
I think one of the biggest ones for me is Dumbledore. Both Dumbledore's Aberforth and Albus defending the Avada Kedavra about why he doesn't say Avada Kedavra, but it's a curse, a green jet that's going toward Credency to kill him. Oh, okay, yeah, and then they defend it. That makes the spells look like Spider-Man's web, which I find really ugly. There, Ezra Miller looks really ugly.
He's in this third movie, okay? He was already going through a lot of mental problems there because he's just existing there, They gave him that long hair. There's a really disgusting scene, man, that scene where he shows up with his hairy chest out and you can even hear the sound of flies. I stopped at the start of the movie. I couldn't handle it. It was just too much for me.
His hairy chest on the ground.
You can hear a fly in the background. I'm not lying, so no need to rewatch the movie.
Then he says, imagine the smell of his friend after 5 days without a shower.
No, man, and what about this final scene? He makes it clear Credentia was going to die for me and that he's only going home to die in peace because he was already weak. But that's the movie.
It ends without going anywhere.
That's the problem.
Just by resolving the loose ends, for example, damn, how are we going to deal with Nagini from the third movie?
Take her out, man. That's bad, man. It's really bad. There's no way, dude.
Catherine Waterston has a full schedule because of the pandemic. She's filming another movie now. What do? Put her in for the last minute.
She also has a busy schedule in this story.
Say that she's busy in the story and that's it. So these are some really lazy resolutions.
We don't get to see Queenie's transformation, man. We see her in the last movie, in the second movie, going all crazy there. And what does he want? Man, I swear to you, in the second movie, when she's about to cross the fire, she puts her hand on her belly.
So I said she's pregnant. That's why she's so desperate to find a solution and all. So what now?
That's why she goes and puts her hand on her belly. Because there's the
Quidditch player.
Who was Quentin Kowalski? It would be cool if he was from the United States. Quentin is the male form of Queenie,
That's what I think. There were probably a lot of ideas, they just didn't execute them.
I was sure that this Quentin, he was, a grandson or something, Yeah, he was the grandson that Queenie ended up having. Her son died, stayed with Jacob, and he was a wizard. Jacob raised him. His son later had a son who played on the national team.
It would be cool. Sometimes there's even a year-long gap between the second and third. And it always shows her, taking care of someone, but it doesn't show what. In the end, it reveals it was her son, and she left because she was already pregnant. That would be really awesome for me.
That's what was going to happen. And we don't see Queenie's transformation. We don't see why Queenie is regretful. Like, we see her. It shows her. Watching Grindelwald kill the creature. She's like, yeah.
Is that it?
And then she realizes, wow, maybe I took a wrong step here, right? She sees it. She loses her spark and all, but we don't see it. We don't see that happening. You know, it's just like that. Oh, she regretted it and that's it. You know that thing I thought was cool? To confuse?
Oh, like Grindelwald he sees glimpses of the future. So let's confuse him and do something kind of like that.
That's cool. I thought it was cool.
That's cool. Let's confuse him through not so obvious things.
Right? That's cool. Let's give Jacob a fake wand.
The fake suitcases?
Right? Yeah, I thought that was cool, you know? Uh-huh. But it wasn't something like, wow, it could have been a movie. They had everything for the movie to be like the salvation. Compared to the second one, it had everything to be the salvation.
You know, I don't even think they released it with that idea, Mano, of being the salvation. Seriously, I think they just released it like, let's finish it, and that's it. Afterwards, no one talks about this franchise, which is what happened. I feel secondhand embarrassment, I think. Ask Brad Redmayne about the franchise. He laughs and says he was never even approached. After the third one,
I'm going to say it like this. I've already said it in my videos, and I'm saying it here.
I think it's an absurd lack of respect from Warner towards the fans, towards the cast itself. Overall, I think it's a huge lack of respect.
they never made an official statement.
Like, they didn't say anything like, guys, look, we paused. We're going to get back together. We will.
Yeah, be honest with the audience.
I think the feeling was, let's let the dust settle, and when nobody remembers, maybe we'll come back.
I think it's difficult, especially with the home box office series now. I doubt they'll ever bring the franchise back to theaters. I already think that in these 10 years with home box office, it's unlikely there will be any new Harry Potter expansion movies in theaters. Everything, right? As for Fantastic Beasts 4, I'd bet no.
I think that's a distant reality. Really distant.
Unless one day there's a lot of money. Let's try to revive the most expensive franchise.
You know why? Remember? When David Zaslav took the position,
I remember him saying no.
it's been 11 years since a Harry Potter film like Fantastic Beasts. Hi, I am.
We're here, man, yeah. I've never seen David Zaslav talk about Fantastic Beasts like that. I doubt he knows. I strongly suspect David Zaslav doesn't realize Fantastic Beasts is part of Harry Potter.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it.
They never do. You can see there was no product, man. Like, you can see there's the wand out there. There's still Vicencia's wand. Santos Mina Lima made the bag. The things from the Ministry of Brazil, right? From the Ministry of Magic of Brazil. I found that so sad. I thought it was a shame. You know, man? It's a shame because, man...
Whether we like it or not, professionally for us, it was a really good franchise, right? I mean, in the sense that it was
excellent professionally.
YouTube was at its peak back then, around the time of the first movie, right? We were with the guys, with the crew there. The Fantastic Beasts part was a great time. That's why when it ended, and in that way too, I was so sad. I thought, man, what a melancholic and sad ending. Just like the end of the third movie is a sad and melancholic ending for the franchise.
Really? I thought it was really messed up. They didn't say anything. They just disappeared. And that's it. That's what's going to happen.
We don't know.
It doesn't matter, you know?
Nobody says anything, nothing?
Nothing. That's how it is.
And I don't even know if they like it. Like, if they actually like it when the fans keep talking. Like, bringing up topics from the movie, you know? But they themselves...
They post us on social media.
Don't they? Harry Potter page.
Yeah, Potter, yeah, okay. It's because the page is always posting stuff from the movies.
Just yesterday, they posted the scene with young Newt.
I saw you commenting there.
That flashback, I commented. I wrote, we want a Fantastic Beasts.
The little curls, only you, look, no, but man, but when we talk about more fantastic, from the episode title, joking, of course, from luxury to trash, because that's the feeling we have now. It's a feeling of no future, no perspective. It was a great time for the fans. It started off really well, right? It started with the guys, the owners of Warner. There they talk about another project, 5 more movies now. with almost $1 billion each, 900 million each. And in the end, it turned out the way it did, an F.
The third was 400 million, right? Yet, it earned more at the box office than many later films because it was a major movie.
Man, so like, it's a hit. Thinking about it, I remember it was in Germany. The movie did really well in Japan. It even beat Spider-Man, the one with Tommy Maguire, with Andrew Garfield, at the box office in Japan. So, in certain countries, it was really a hit. But that's it. In the United States, it flopped. The studio kept most of the box office from a movie in the United States, so it must have caused a loss like that.
It's because the movie cost over 200 million plus marketing and all that.
And still, Fantastic Beasts got a theme park, yeah.
Yeah.
There's still a theme park, right? Still?
The area over there at Epic Universe is amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. Amazing. The Circo Arcanos attraction is really cool. The details are really cool. Like, really cool. I think it was already planned, right? Yeah. Now we can't change it, guys. That's how it's going to be, isn't it?
At most, we'll put the Ministry of Magic there. Expand it, add the Ministry of Magic. And I don't know.
I think it was already in the plan. No.
Although the name of the park is Ministry of Magic, man.
It was already in the plan, because it's something too big to change suddenly like that.
So, in general, Tiago Fantastic Beasts. You first.
Before, don't ask me difficult questions.
Before you give your score, before you give your overall opinion, would you like it to continue, or do you think it should continue?
Maybe it's messing with something that wasn't going so well, and you'd rather it just stay quiet.
That's a tough question. I think I wish I already had it. I've talked about it a lot. I've asked for it a lot. Fantastic Beasts 4 on my social media. But that's because about 2 years ago, maybe a year ago, a year and a half, there was no announcement about the home box office series yet. But now I think the focus has to be entirely on the series because it's an enormous responsibility. They know that they will have to recreate the phenomenon and the success that the movie's already achieved, and that requires time and dedication. Unless Warner is bought now, as has been speculated, and they have plenty of money and resources to spare, and they say, oh, if we just make this movie to wrap things up, it's no problem, but I think that's unlikely, right? Honestly, I don't see that happening anymore.
I would like there to be a sequel, yes, for sure. But right now, at this moment, I'd rather not, like that. A sequel. Now I'm thinking along the lines of the series. Let's focus on the series. Let's put all our energy into the series.
So we don't confuse people, so it doesn't get all mixed up, so it doesn't get messy. Because Fantastic Beasts.
Even though it has the little book, the story doesn't come from that book, right? The book is actually a guide to magical creatures. The story comes from the movie. It's from the movie universe. And it starts from the universe that the movies adapted from the books. So, it's going to be different from the series. And I don't think you can mix them.
Consider this. The last 2 Fantastic Beasts movies could conclude the Dumbledore and Grindelwald arc. Man, now I'd rather see that in the series because they'll have a lot more time to develop their story with flashbacks. Although the Deathly Hallows season is far off, they can begin hinting at aspects of Dumbledore's life. So, now that it's happening in the series, and another thing, if they bring in a young Dumbledore for the series, I wouldn't mind at all. It doesn't have to be Jude Law, If there's any memory with young Dumbledore since Flitwick came back, why can't Jude Law come back as young Dumbledore? I don't know, that just leaves a possibility.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if I would like that.
What's your problem?
I didn't ask you anything.
I'm the one who said that's my problem.
I don't know if I would like Jude Law. Yeah, no, because I don't like him as Dumbledore. I think he's really cool as Dumbledore, but I would like to have a new perspective. Yeah, it's the same thing with Flitwick. I would like to have a new perspective. It's not something that's going to really bother me, but I would prefer it to be a new perspective. Just like all the other characters.
Especially because Flitwick's characterization should be different from what it was in the movie. It's going to be different. I don't think they're going to make a characterization like yours.
No, they won't, and I hope it stays that way. They shouldn't change it.
Then it's like, wow, Fleetwick's mustache. But guys, I think we've now reached a moment you've all been waiting for, which is the Howler moment. Leave your comment below. Do you agree? What score would you give? Santagio, what's your score? For the franchise as a whole?
I'll give it a 7.5.
I give it a 7 here, 6.5. 7 is about average, enough to pass the year. It's a shouting moment.
Let's go, shouting moment and Tia go. Here's our first message in the shouting moment from Igor Ribeiro, and he said the following. I wanted to know what you expect from Gina and Harry's romance in this series. Look.
It doesn't take much to be better, right? I hope that Gina will finally be appreciated. I hope they really show the relationship between the two, because that's what I always say. Anything they do just a little bit better will already be better than in the movies, which just didn't work there. What we had in the movie wasn't a relationship. It was more like a king. Honestly, it was terrible.
Man, I'm in. I want to see Gina the Gunner. We said Rodney Hogwarts was over, but she was with 3 guys, right? Yeah, Dino, the Macho Fans guy, the Ravenclaw guy, and Harry. Hey, but look. I want to see the intensity of their relationship. The struggle Harry goes through feeling guilty for liking his best friend's sister. And that big kiss first. Kiss later.
In the Gryffindor common room, it's minimal.
Right after the championship.
Right? No, it can't not be a kiss in the common room. Sorry, guys.
That's it.
The next message is from J-Rox. How do you think the big opening scene of the first episode of the series will be and the ending? Jay, we made an episode imagining the first 2. And it's cool because the opening scene, I want it to be the Dursleys. For me, we speculated about Godric's Hollow, about how they've already filmed it, but I would be really happy if it were the Dursleys.
I think the opening scene could be expensive, kind of focusing on the house on Privet Drive, right there.
And kind of.
Contextualizing, because there was even the thing with the series narrator, right?
Who speculated that the series might have a narrator? But if only the first one had a narrator, Mr. and Mrs., I'd be pretty happy if I were Dursley from Privet Drive.
Then,
but it would be cool.
And the last scene, I think it's Hagrid arriving at the hut.
Leaving the hut on the small boat with pigeons.
Pigeons Ellen Calury. Helena Calury. Hi, guys.
I think the theme song for the series will be the same as the movies, because Home Box Office did the same thing.
In Game of Thrones and House of the...
In House of the Dragon, they used the same opening and Game of Thrones theme song as in Game of Thrones.
They used it, yes.
I think they're going to use the main Harry Potter theme, the Edwin Stam, in this opening, but the composer will make a different version with new elements.
I think there might be elements. Maybe they'll use the classic one, of course. But I don't think so. Maybe only in the opening they'll use the classic. Elements from the classic. Not the whole classic theme.
Not in the opening scene with the Dursleys, since that music sounds too much like Harry Potter or magic, right? So when magic appears in the series, that music comes along, it's music. Talita Veloso sent in, now I'm loving the podcast Sessão Reservada. I feel like I'm talking with friends in my living room. Thanks, Talita. I've gotten that message a few times. Very cool.
Who said, as Dumbledore says, why do you feel like you are?
And it doesn't mean it's not real, you know?
Because we're friends who are there in your living room, in your car, in your bathroom, while you're taking a shower or doing anything else. We're those friends who are there.
We'll be there.
Carol Battistello. I've been following you since I was little.
For a moment, I
felt my back hurt. I'm grateful to you for bringing magic to us. You can send a hug, for sure. Carol, a big hug for you. Thank you for following us for so long and for staying here.
Because that's the main thing.
This is very special to us, and I hope that in this new Harry Potter phase, we stay together.
Thanks, Carol. Have you followed since childhood? Now we'll grow old together.
Is that it?
Beatriz Moreira sent, guys, when the series starts, will there be an analysis of each episode? What's your idea? One of the reasons we're here with Michelle and Boo Boo is exactly that, guys.
When the episode ends, open YouTube and our episode will be there.
Commenting with Sessão Reservada and reacting to it on our channel. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be wonderful, guys. We hope you'll join us, as this is only the beginning. We're creating something exciting, and it'll grow even more once the series releases.
That's it. And look at Luna Lovegood.
Last message for today, Luna. Feel privileged.
Luna said, "Hi, I'm loving the podcast. You guys are amazing. Harry Potter inspired me to want to be an actress. I'm grateful. Look how cool, Auntie."
Very cool. Luna from a Luna is still Luna.
Thank you very much for the affection. I'm glad that Harry Potter has been a tool of motivation for you, as it is for many fans. For me, for Tia-chan.
Harry Potter inspired me to become a journalist, Luna, so he's always helping me in some way.
Yeah, so that's really cool, and thank you for the affection. Big kiss. If you want to show up here in the Howler moment, send your message. We'll read it here with a lot of care in the next episodes.
Thank you all.
It's always on the screen, guys. Just send a message, send a question, send whatever you feel comfortable with.
Exactly, we're here to read them, right? Taya-chan,
For sure.
thank you for the affection, guys.
Thanks, everyone. It's time for the closing. I'd like a Newt Scamander quote, if possible.
I don't even think I need to read it. There's one that I have in my mind that he says, which is, "My creatures are surrounded. It's by the most dangerous monsters on the planet, Mr. Kowalski, humans."
Are you talking already? That's the line.
The line, wow.
What's that? I love Newt Scamander. I also like Dilma when he talks to Dumbledore in secret. Dumbledore.
Then in your episode, you talk. I was waiting, but it's fair. You kept making little jokes with me. I was just waiting for the moment. You pulled a Kikana.
I'd rather end it this way because it's much cooler than just talking. My line. That's it, guys. Think I'll say my line. Stay curious for next time. Another reserved session.
Thanks, guys.
And we're in this together. Thanks.
Thanks, bye.